Thank you very much for joining that session with Palo Alto Networks today. The goal is to talk a bit about what we can do regarding security when you want to go to the public cloud. Before going into the subject, I will just give you a quick overview or update about where we are at Palo Alto Networks today, because the company has evolved a lot, and I think it makes sense that you see where we are today. So here, a summary of our portfolio. Three main pillars, as you can see here. That one, Strata, is about network security, is actually where the company was born, building the new next generation firewall in 2005. So it has been rebranded Strata, and this is about fundamentally next generation firewall. And we have two other pillars, Prisma, which is one we'll cover today, which is about cloud security. And a third one, which is Cortex. It's more about SOC security. It's a lot about analytics, automation, orchestration, and our ability to track the most sophisticated attacks. All those three pillars are of equal importance today. We invest regarding R&D in all of them equally, and all of them allows us to build a full zero trust architecture, but this is not the topic of today. So speaking of cloud, this is something that is very, very important. This is the famous shared responsibility model. Meaning, okay, when you go to the public cloud, you see the well-known names here, AWS, Azure, Oracle, and so on. Of course, you don't take care anymore of some certain things. So routers, switches, the data center, etc. You don't care about that. But still, there are a bunch of things that you have to take care about. And these things are here. So not only the networks, and we will talk a bit about network security as well, but also other stuff, probably new objects, innovation that the public cloud is bringing. But those kind of things, you have to take care about that. And this is not the responsibility of AWS or Azure. So if you think of a malware, for instance, a ransomware, it can encrypt all your resources, all your workloads that sits in AWS or GCP. And it's not their responsibility, it's your responsibility. So you have to secure all these things. And we will see how we can do this with our portfolio, our product, mainly Prisma Cloud and also Strata. This is what I will explain in the next minutes. First approach, when you go to the cloud, you need to extend your network security and you need to inspect your traffic at layer 7, at least if you want to be really secure. This is what we do today in legacy or regular data center, by the way. In your on-prem data center, I don't think anyone does not have any firewalls, at least next generation firewalls, and leaves the workloads accessible from the internet like that. So there is no technical reason to do so in the public cloud. You need to inspect the traffic at layer 7 if you want to be secure. Of course, you can deploy some web services like that, but and if you don't secure it, if you don't inspect the traffic, then you will have an issue. So how we can do that with our products is using the famous Strata platform, so the next generation firewall. So before jumping into a bit of architecture, this is today our approach, this platform approach. And of course, we have different form factors. Thinking of the next generation firewall, you can have hardware and you can have as well software series. This is what we'll use in the public cloud. And you can have also as a service. You see here now PanOS with machine learning powered. This is because we have introduced recently machine learning algorithm inside the box. This is real, this is not marketing. There is no magic. We train the algorithm. And why we do that? Because we want it to be able to block some unknown variants. And for that, we train the algorithm. And this is specific to the variants of malware that has exploded during the pandemic, because what the cyber criminals are doing is that instead of building net new malwares, they just do and create variants, hoping that it can go through the security countermeasure at the end of the day. And the good news in our PanOS is that no matter the form factor, you don't care, you can consume the exact same security service. So even if you use a small VM series, you can have the same power regarding the security subscription. I will not go into details of all the subscription, but the message here that you see that there are a lot, and this has evolved during last years and months, and we want to consolidate and use the firewalls to deliver more, because there's a lot of chance that you have a next-gen firewall in your architecture. So why not using it to bring additional things? So here are all the subscriptions that you can use on our firewalls. I will not detail them, but you have threat prevention, IPS, you have advanced URL capabilities, we have WF Wildfire. This is what we use to tackle the unknown attacks. We have now DNS security, something specific to analyze the DNS traffic, because this is something that is really used by our adversaries to go through a next-gen firewall. We have now IoT security as well to tackle this new challenge. We all know that now a bunch of devices are connected on the infrastructure, and we are even not aware sometimes that those things are connected. So we have something specific to tackle this. We have now DLP service, so data loss prevention or data loss protection, that can be consumed by the firewall to avoid that some sensitive document will leave the infrastructure. And we have now a full CASB service, which is SaaS security, to tackle this new challenge as well, because there is also an explosion of all the SaaS applications, so that we can do something about that using our next-gen firewall. And we have Global Protect to get connected remotely and securely to any kind of form factor. We have also SD-WAN, which is a subscription, but in my opinion, not really a security subscription, but still you can see it here because it's a subscription. So now, speaking of public cloud infrastructure, so as I said, it's important that you inspect the traffic flowing to your resources that you will deploy in the public infrastructure. In that example, we see AWS and Azure, but it can be others as well, of course. And the good news is using our software firewalls, so VM series and also CN series, I will say a word later about CN series, you can position them inside your VPC or VNet in that example to secure your traffic like you did in your on-prem data center. Here is a hardware firewall. This is the same at the end of the day. You can position those firewall and inspect the traffic flowing in and out, or even doing east-west segmentation. So traffic coming from one VPC to another or to another VPC in another public cloud, you can inspect it and have the same security and same protection. And the good news is that you can manage all those firewalls with our tool, which is Panorama, so a centrally managed solution. So it's pretty easy at the end of the day to deploy those firewalls in your public infrastructure. And you have to do so if you really want to be protected. And in that example, you see that it's a perfect fit for hybrid environment. So even if you keep some resources on on-prem legacy data center, which is what we see most of the times, because it's not so often that you see organization embracing only public clouds and building an infrastructure using only public cloud infrastructure. They still have resources on their legacy data center. For this kind of hybrid environment, it's pretty straightforward to deploy those VM series. And again, there is no technical reason to not deploy such next generation firewall inside the public cloud. And there is no showstopper to do so. Because you might think, okay, I'm going to the cloud because it's flexible, it's agile, and now you are telling me that I have to deploy that VM series there. But everything can be automated and everything can be scripted. So the deployment of this can be adopted very easily. And it's absolutely not a blocking point to decide to have a real next-gen firewall in the public cloud infrastructure. And as an example, we are just releasing now a new consumption for the next generation firewall. So it will be a service. It's now available, will be available in AWS only at the beginning. But this is typically what we like to see in the cloud. In that situation, you even don't take care of the VM series. This is something that will be built by Palo Alto Networks. What you will have to do is just consuming the service. And you see, it's just a matter of adding that firewall endpoint on your VPC, on that example, on your availability zone. You just have to add that, and then you will decide that some flows maybe needs inspection, and you will send them to that architecture and back again to your VPC. So a new way of consuming our next generation firewall just as a service, so super easy to be consumed. Then you don't take care of all this infrastructure. We manage it. Of course, if we look a bit detail about that, we spin a lot of VM series there. You are using load balancers and so on to scale, but this is not your concern. You will have just to concentrate on your security policies using that service. So this will be released in the coming weeks in AWS. This is typically something that you use in the cloud, consuming things as a service. The other software firewall that you can use now in the cloud is this famous CN series. What this is about, it's actually PAN-OS as a container. Because probably when people are moving to the cloud, this is also because they are now using more and more containers in their application development. We know that modern development make an intensive use of containers to build an application that are really use microservice. It's a lot more easier to then develop the application and make some patch and so on. So if you want to inspect the traffic inside your Kubernetes environment, this is now possible with our PAN-OS, which is available as a container. The good news is that we will then understand the logic of Kubernetes and all the controls inside Kubernetes, so the namespace, the tags, and so on. And the idea is that you will build policies based on this, and you will be able to scale. And if you are building new containers, it's not your problem. You will spin other container series if you need to have more power regarding what you have to inspect inside the Kubernetes cluster. You don't care about the flavor of your Kubernetes environment. It can be on-prem, it can be on the public cloud, it can be using the service that the public cloud are offering, AKS, GKS, and so on. We can deploy the CM series inside. And what this is about, you see the example here. You understand now which container is talking to the outside or which container is targeting from the internet. If you have a front end, for instance, that is going through a container inside your Kubernetes cluster, you can then inspect the traffic inside the CN series, and you can apply there the exact same security services that we have seen just before. So you can be sure that you protect your containers with advanced threat protection. And you can even do east-west protection, meaning inspection between containers inside the cluster, if needed. Two flavors are available now. You can use our CN series as a daemon set. So this means you will deploy a small CN series inside each worker node. But now, and since the new version of PAN-OS 10.1, to be more accurate, we can use now our CN series as a service, meaning we deploy all the CN series inside a specific security node. That security node, by the way, can also contain application containers, but the idea is that this one is more scalable. You don't need now to deploy a CN series in each worker node, and in that situation, it will only be one. You just spin as CN series as needed, depending on the amount of performance that you are waiting regarding your application infrastructure. So we saw that it's important to inspect the traffic at layer 7 when you go to public cloud. It's at the end pretty easy to do so. It's just a matter of deploying a next-gen firewall in the public cloud. And we have seen that we have different form factor. We can use a VM series, and we can even use a CN series specific for the container world. Unfortunately, I would say this is not enough just doing that network security. Because back to the shared responsibility model, going to the public cloud is embracing a new way of developing a data center. Probably we do it because it's really flexible and agile, and we enter the world of infrastructure as code. Everything can be deployed and configured using templates and scripts and so on. But the public cloud will bring as well new concept, innovation, and there are a bunch of things where the firewall will not help you. Probably, for instance, you will have multiple users in your organization having access to your public cloud environment. You will have developers, you will have network engineers, cloud architects, security engineers. All those guys, they will have accounts and they will do actions on the public cloud. So what will they do? When? Why? Having that visibility is a challenge, and it's not the firewall that will give you this. You have specific stuff like serverless functions, for instance. Again, the firewall there, it will not help you. What will be those serverless functions? How many has been configured and so on. So for this, we have a specific product, which is Prisma Cloud. So Prisma Cloud is one product, and as you can see here, it can do a lot of things for you. And this is on purpose because we want, again, to consolidate the infrastructure. And as we did on our firewall, bringing new security services to give you more capabilities with your firewall. With Prisma Cloud, we have given to that product a bunch of capabilities because we want to simplify the life of our customer. So using Prisma Cloud, it's only one single console, and you can see that we do a lot of things there. And even on the sales side of the product, it's super easy. This is just one SKU, and it's just a matter of buying credits. That's it. So super easy, nothing complex here. You just buy credits, and depending on what you want to activate, you will consume those credits. This means this is not because you are seeing those 5 big stuff in Prisma Cloud that you need to do everything. You can start doing only posture management, or you can start doing only micro-segmentation. You can start small. Because sometimes when we think of public cloud, we have in mind that only big organization or organization that have worldwide impact will adopt that, and that for the products that are tied to this organization maybe can cost a lot. But it's absolutely not the case of Prisma Cloud. Again, you can start small with a subset of its capabilities. So now, if we have a look at what the product is doing, 5 main things that we can do with Prisma Cloud. And we will start with the posture management. So what we will do with Prisma Cloud? First, we want to understand what has been configured across all the public cloud infrastructure. This is what you see here, bringing visibility about what has been configured and being able to have the complete inventory of what has been configured in the public cloud infrastructure. How we do this? We do an ingestion of all that information. We use a specific role to connect to the different cloud accounts. We ingest a bunch of information. It's audit logs, flow logs, config logs, and so on. And we build a database about that. And we give then a full inventory of what has been configured in that single console. And then based on that, of course, we do something about that. We are then able to do threat detection and already bringing some security pieces about that, because we will analyze all those logs, and based on what we are looking at and on the threat intel that we absorb from Palo Alto Networks, we are able potentially to detect some threats and some security and build some security incident, depending on what we will do with all that information. We will also use machine learning. This is what you see here with UEBA, so with user entity behavior analytics. So we will do profiling and build some models about what the machines are doing. So for instance, for a certain web server, we will have a certain pattern regarding the network traffic. And if we see a deviation regarding this pattern, we will raise an alert. For instance, we see that on Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning, suddenly a bunch of gigabits of network has been detected. So this is not normal. We will raise an alert for you to have a look at that. And we have also added recently a DLP capabilities, which is data security. I have included some screenshots of the applications inside for you to, it will be easier to understand what the product is doing. For example, on the inventory side, you see here an excerpt of the application. This is the kind of dashboard that you will see. So super easy to be used. Of course, each time you can click on the various pieces here to drill down and do a deep dive of what is happening. So full inventory, total number of assets, and then you can have a look on exactly what has been configured. For example, here you have a trend for you to know if the number of assets is increasing or not in your multi-cloud infrastructure. Important piece, especially in Luxembourg, I think, we have out-of-the-box compliance reports. You have nothing to do. Everything is included. It's just a matter of 2 or 3 clicks. You can immediately download some nice reports about the compliance. And we have, of course, all the well-known standards that are implemented already inside, like GDPR, for instance. And then you can immediately download a report, and that report will indicate it if you have some fail things regarding all the standard and all the articles that are described in GDPR, and you know if you are compliant or not. Of course, you can build your own compliance standard. You can copy one and starting from this, modify it and build your own or upload your own standard. But it's a nice way of it will not give you a full audit, but when you have an audit, it's a tool that will help you before that audit to have a check and see where you are regarding your public cloud infrastructure and if you are compliant regarding what is described in all the GDPR stuff, for instance, or others like PCI DSS and so on. The same for the network flows. As I said, we do something about all the information that we ingest. So regarding, for instance, the VPC flows that are ingested in the tool, we will do something about that. And as we have our threat intel, we are able, for instance, to identify if some suspicious IPs are trying to targeting your infrastructure. Just included that screenshot there to teach you and to give you an example. For instance, I have seen an alert of certain suspicious IPs that are targeting a server that is in the organization. And you see it's very graphical. You see, unfortunately, some suspicious IPs are reaching my server. And then using the tool, you can deep dive that and trying to understand why those suspicious IPs can reach this one. And in that example, it's just because, for instance, the security group allows everything to talk to that application. The tool is using a language inside, which is RQL, Resource Query Language. It's a powerful language. And by default, a bunch of policies, this is automatic, it is included already, are using these queries to do some investigation on all that information that has been structured in the database. But if you want, you can build your own queries or use it. As an example, regarding the suspicious IPs, you can build a query to see if those suspicious IPs are actually reaching other server that has been deployed in your public cloud infrastructure. So in that example of our Devo environment, of course, unfortunately, yes, a bunch of suspicious IPs are targeting different resources in your public cloud environment. And this RQL language is super powerful and quite easy to be used, actually. Same for data security, automatic dashboard that are delivered. Again, the tool is here to help you and to bringing a lot of automation so that it's already down for you. Immediately, we will scan all the assets in your S3 buckets, and we will identify if some objects, unfortunately, some sensitive object has been, for instance, publicly exposed. And the idea is that we can track some specific patterns. Of course, it's the same. Out of the box, we bring a bunch of policies with well-known patterns such as P2I, healthcare, and so on. But you can build, of course, your own pattern. And for instance, you will, if you in your organization you don't want certain documents that are publicly exposed containing a certain pattern, you can do this and track if, unfortunately, some of them are publicly exposed. The same for malware. We will scan all those S3 stuff to detect if, unfortunately, a malware resides somewhere in your buckets in your public cloud environment. So this is the first piece of Prisma Cloud. Posture management, full inventory, and already a piece of security with threat detection capabilities. Second stuff that we can bring here is about workload protection. Because we have seen that we can do network security using the next-gen firewall, but how can we protect all those workloads? And this is very interesting, specifically for containers, because again, when you go to public cloud, probably you will leverage all those containers capabilities with the development of your new applications. What can we do about those containers, for instance? Prisma Cloud can help you in protecting those containers. How does this work? It's using an agent, which is called a defender. You see that defender here. And that defender actually has different form factor depending on what he has to protect. If it's a host, a VM, it will be a service. If it's container, it will be a container inside the environment, a side-by-side container that will be here, but with specific rights that will allow him to have visibility on what is going there. If it's a serverless function, again, it's a different form factor, and you will manage it from the Prisma Cloud console to have the visibility and understand what happens there. The good news is that, again, that agent will bring you visibility. And again, I included here a screenshot of the console for you to have an idea of what you see inside Prisma Cloud. And it's really interesting, in my opinion, is that here you see all the containers that has been running, that are running in your infrastructure. So at least it will give you full visibility and a graphical view of your containers. And you see which container is talking to which containers. And then you can immediately see that you have red colors because there are some issues. And we are able to track different things. We will do a full vulnerability scanning for you to know if, unfortunately, we have containers that are vulnerable. You will immediately see that and you can take action on it. And the good news is, for instance, in that example, you see unprotected web application. So automatically we detect if some containers are potentially reachable from the internet, and you see that unfortunately it's not protected, and we can protect them. And how we protect also the containers is building, again, models using machine learning, because the good news is that containers are good candidates for machine learning because they are super minimalist. So it's easy to build the model and to track deviation. So we will build the model using the image and also observing the behavior of the container when it's running. And we build the model regarding the system code, the processes, the network traffic, and the file system access. And as soon as we detect a deviation, then we raise an alert. Same for serverless function. Again, interesting because we have a graphical view of all those functions that are used. The serverless function is those piece of code that can be used on demand. It's the ultimate, let's say, microservice stuff. You will even not use the containers for certain function for your application. For instance, if your application, you have to send an email on certain event, you can embed the code in a serverless function and call that function when needed only. And with Prisma Cloud, we have visibility about those functions and also protection, because unfortunately, those functions, this is something that the cyber criminals, they can use to disrupt your infrastructure. So we can protect that and with the Defender and give you the same visibility about potential vulnerabilities. So Prisma Cloud can do something about the serverless function. And we have seen on the previous slide that we can even protect the web app, because the Defender embeds as well a full WAF capability. Again, the same idea of consolidation and not multiplying thousands, not thousands, but hundreds of products regarding what you have to protect. So Prisma Cloud can give you full WAF protection with the famous top 10 OWASP that you know, like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and so on. So again, from the tool, from the Defender, you can decide to activate that WAF functionality, and it's classic, just alerting or preventing on ban depending on the type of attacks. And we have the ability to understand your API, and you can upload your API definition or define it manually, as you can see here, precisely indicated what the HTTP method that you are using, and so the tool can understand what is your API. Now, that was the second part of Prisma Cloud, the workload protection. Regarding network security, we can add another piece, which is identity-based micro-segmentation. So we have seen that with the next-gen firewall, you can protect your workloads, analyzing the flows that are coming in, but we can add another layer, bringing even micro-segmentation. So even on a local segment, we can now block some traffic, because we know that generally when you suffer from an attack, they will move laterally, and then there is no next-gen firewall to inspect the traffic. Now with Prisma Cloud, we can bring a piece of micro-segmentation. The idea there is that we do what we call identity micro-segmentation. So we want to get rid of the network construct, so not building policies saying, okay, that IPs cannot talk to that IPs, or that IP can talk to that IP. No, we will identify the applications using different tags and namespace and so on. So different information to build an identity and use this to construct our policies. So full abstraction of the network's construct, and then you build your policies to precisely allow what application is allowed to talk to another application. So we understand the different information, we will identity, then we discover the applications and the traffic, which is important because it's not obvious to understand the application logic and what is exactly the flows between all those applications. The tool will help you on this because there is a phase of discovering things. And then you can build your policies, but you can, at the first step, just test the policies so that you are sure you are not disrupting something. And then if you want, you can do an enforcement and then, okay, I will allow app A to talk to app B and app C, and that's it. The good news is that you don't care where the applications are. So you don't care if the applications are in AWS or Azure or even on-prem. It's just a matter of deploying an enforcer. So it's another agent. We have seen the Defender before. We have now the enforcer, another agent. And that agent can be deployed in the public cloud or in your private legacy data center on-prem. You don't care. And then based on this enforcer, it will help you to understand the exact application architecture and enforce your policies. Just a screenshot, again, from the console of Prisma Cloud. You will have a map and you will be able to see exactly what is your application structure. Fourth piece of Prisma Cloud, specific ability to track what the users are doing, with a focus on specifically on the level of permission that your user is. And the idea is that we want to ensure that I will do an exaggeration, meaning you are root and you are connected with full permission, but at the end of the day, you are doing only some basic checks, for instance. But the tool will help you in identifying exactly what the users are doing regarding their permission and actually what they are doing exactly when they are connected in the public cloud environment. So after that, maybe you will say, okay, that user is doing this and this, but I can see that is over permissive. I will restrict now its permission, because it's not that the user will do bad action, but it's still possible with a mistake. But it's a lot. It will be difficult if, for instance, the account is compromised. Then it will give full permission to potential cyber criminal. So the idea of the tool here is that we try to track precisely what the users are doing and compare that to their permission and give you visibility about that. And again, we have also machine learning there, but I already said that. The same story that for the entity, we profile what the users are doing to try to track some deviation as well. So if we see that the users are connected only during the week and never on Saturday, on Sunday, and suddenly we detect that someone has been connected during on Sunday, for instance, we will raise an alert because it's a deviation compared to what we usually see about that user. So another piece of Prisma Cloud, specific attention about identity and access management. And the last important piece of Prisma Cloud is what we call DevSecOps. So this is the ability of Prisma Cloud to give prevention for you regarding the application. What I want to say is that till now, what we have seen is that we are protecting the applications when they are running, basically. We use a next-gen firewall to protect from bad flows. I will try to disrupt the application. Or we use other capabilities of the tool, workload protection or micro-segmentation, to avoid that the application has been disrupted. But this is when the application is running. And it would be good if we can do something when we build the application. And we know that modern applications are used using an extensive use of containers. And we know that the developer guys, they use specific tools in this famous DevOps pipe. This is the idea of Prisma Cloud, doing prevention. Maybe it's better if we can identify that a container, for instance, has a critical vulnerability in the build phase before it's putting into production. It is put in production. So this is what the tool can do, and we see that it can do actually a lot regarding DevOps. But the key message here, and I think this is maybe the most important thing, is that we will not disrupt the way the developers are working. We will not make them work in another way. We will not impose new tools. They will go on using the same tools. They will go on working the way they used to work. But we will have visibility, and we will bring visibility to them and to the security guys. And this is the key message. Because then with our capabilities, we are able to integrate with a bunch of open source tools and give them information about what they are doing. In the example I've used with the critical vulnerability, it's a typical example because when they are using their orchestrator and so on, and when they are on their dev machine using their IDE, at a certain moment, they will pull some images from the internet, for instance. We can scan that image and say, hey, pay attention, that image has a critical vulnerability. So, and then depending on your policies, you can let them on alerting mode only, or you can be you can do more enforcement, even disrupting the build, because you will identify a real critical vulnerability. So when you will build the application, you will have a fail in its orchestration tool because there is a critical vulnerability. So the tool has a lot of capabilities, but of course, the best in that situation is to see a demo of this. But just for you, it's the same. I have included some screenshots in those slides. You will have information inside the tool about what the developers are creating, all the image that has been scanned, the templates, the infrastructure as code that has been scanned as well to detect potential problems before they have been put in production. This is the famous shift left security, but the idea is prevention. It's better if before putting that in production, you can have information about potential security issues. Just as an example, it's a screenshot, but I have another one, again, just from Bridgecrew. So Bridgecrew is an acquisition that we have done, and Bridgecrew has delivered the Checkov scanner that is quite often used by developers. And this is integrated now in our Prisma Cloud platform, giving visibility about what you are writing. So even using Checkov, which is an open source tool, even using it as a CLI, it's a screenshot of Checkov again, you will have, as you can see here, information immediately when you do your scanning about potential problem. Like here, please ensure that your S3 buckets is securely encrypted. So you will have, the developer will have immediate information about what he's doing during the building of the application. Same here with an IDE, we have an extension that we can integrate. So even with their IDE, we have extension, and again, same idea. When building and writing your codes, you will have information coming from Prisma Cloud about potential security issues that you will get if you put like your application like this into production. So thank you very much for joining this session. I took almost 10 minutes more, but I think it was valuable that you have now an idea of how Palo Alto Networks can help you if you want to go to the public cloud. Don't hesitate to get in touch with us. I've included there my coordinates, and you can even scan this and you will have my LinkedIn account. So don't hesitate if you want to see a demo, because it's those kind of tools, it's really interesting. And in my opinion, when you see it in action, we can do a demo of any kind of things. So should it be the micro-segmentation, the workload protection, the DevSecOps, depending on your use case, on what you are interested in, don't hesitate to get in touch with us to see the product in action, basically. Okay, I think I will close it. Again, feel free to contact me if you want to have additional information or if you want to deep dive something. I hope it was valuable, and I hope you enjoyed the Internet Days event. And I wish you a good evening, and maybe we will see you soon in another event or in person. Bye, everyone.